This is what an average sidewalk typically looks like in Taiwan. You'll see a bunch of scooters, have some type of covering overhead, and there's usually enough room to walk. Looks acceptable, right? But what about this? Some random car parking right in front of your walking pathway, covering part of the sidewalk. Or this, a sidewalk that's barely wide enough for two people to pass by each other. Or maybe this, a pathway that was flat suddenly has a large, raised concrete slab in the way. And these are just a few examples. If you are walking near an MRT station, close to a main road, near a government building, or near a school or university, your walking experience is probably more enjoyable. Walkways around these areas are typically much wider, have good shading, may have extra space for cyclists, and may even be lined with trees, like this road. However, as soon as you branch off from one of these areas, things seem to always take a turn for the worse. From an accessibility standpoint, Taiwan is not a very friendly place. On most streets, there are a lot of level changes which make it very hard to push a wheelchair or use crutches. Some places do offer two different ways of traversing the step, but most places don't seem to care that much. Like mentioned earlier, safety around schools is typically better than the average street, but quite a lot of times, the recommended path is on the same level as the street, and you are walking next to many moving cars and scooters, often with little to no separation. These paths also have a fair share of planning issues, like this one that abruptly ends, and you have to change directions to continue forward. And this changing of directions is quite frequent in Taiwan. There may be some construction blocking the path, someone's car or scooter parked outside their apartment, or just inconsistent planning between the buildings. You always need to be alert and really familiar with the path you want to take. As for alleyways, I find they are usually one of the most enjoyable ways to walk the city. Because of the reduced traffic, they are much quieter and feel much safer to walk. Of course, you do get cars and scooters driving down them, so you still have to be wary. They may not always provide the most direct route to destination, but they are definitely much more comfortable to walk than a busy, noisy strode. Often filled with many plants and hidden gems, like cafes or restaurants, they are the places that I found the most joy in walking and wouldn't be the same if driving, or even biking for that matter. So what does this all mean? Well, overall Taiwan, specifically Taipei in this case, has passable walking infrastructure. If you stick to the main routes or alleyways, you'll probably find little issue. Basically any destination I want to go to, I can do so via walking. That being said, there are still many ways to improve. It would be nice to see sidewalks flattened out without the need to randomly step up and down again. This would also help to make the city more accessible and friendly for all types of pedestrians. I think more can be done to improve the walking areas around schools and keep students safer. Raising up the walkways above street level would be a start. It would be nice to have narrower sidewalks widen out, but this issue mainly stems from the clash between old and new. Until older developments are redone, the sidewalks in those areas will probably stay as they are. Adding more trees and shade to existing pathways is never a bad idea, and giving cyclists and pedestrians more priority over cars seems like the most ideal option. Lastly, the scooter culture in Taiwan, where they feel like they can basically do anything and go anywhere, needs to end. There shouldn't be any driving on the sidewalks, driving the wrong way down a one-way street, or being completely oblivious to pedestrians. I think if Taiwan can make these changes, many more people will be inclined to walk, bike, take public transport, and just overall feel safer and healthier in their own city. Thank you for watching until the end. How does Taiwan's walking environment compare to your city or country? If you have any suggestions for content or feedback, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks again.